Okay. We are back. Hope you're here with me. I'll wait for you to come back on because I popped out and popped back in. And good news is we didn't get too far. Although I will kind of share again for those who are going to see this for the first time who are not here live with us. I'm Coach Reg, relationship coach. This is Sip and Chill with Coach Reg. And we're going to look at this week the topic of love without regret. Kind of talked a little bit about who I am, what I do. Hey, Cree, how you doing? Please say hello. Hey, Karan, how are you? Welcome to the lounge. Welcome. Happy you are here. Happy Friday. Just want to kind of get into a cover really quickly. Who I am, what I do, who I work with. Hey, Paulette, how you doing? Welcome back to the lounge. Happy Friday. Happy you all are here with me. Yeah, so I'm your guy, Coach Reg, right? Relationship coach, founder, Are You Coached? Relationship coaching platform geared toward helping individuals identify, participate, strengthen, and sustain healthy relationships. Also the founder of Sip and Chill with Coach Reg, right? Interactive virtual lounge where members learn to start, strengthen, and sustain healthy relationships. My clients are high-achieving professional men and women who've attained many of their professional goals but may not yet have the interpersonal relationship that best serves and or complements her or him, right? And so we coach around those things. We coach around value, we coach around standards, we coach around boundaries, establishing those and how they can best serve you and help you experience more emotionally gratifying relationships. So yeah, a little bit about me. If you want to learn more about who I am and some of the things I've done in media, you can totally get out to our website at areyoucoached.com. It resolves letter, and word. Also, pillars of Are You Coached? Are you purposeful? Are you evolving? Are you discovering the best you? Purposeful, evolving, discovering the best you. And if you're not, are you coached, right? So, Are You Coached again? We deal with relationships. Hey, Nicole, welcome back. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Petty Do. Thank you all for coming back to hang out. Sorry about that glitch. I don't really know how this works sometimes. Sometimes it's a clean broadcast, and then other times I have to start over. So thank you for your patience. Totally appreciate that. Hey, Vita, how you doing? Welcome back. Happy. Hey, Deani. Happy you all are here. Yeah, so now let's get to the good stuff. So, wasn't that song kind of cool? Did it take you back a little bit? Listen, I didn't intend to surprise you with it. It wasn't my goal. But what happened was I had heard a commercial some weeks ago and thought to myself, man, this song, it's an amazing song. But what was amazing about it was the lyrics to me, right? And so let me ask you, before we get into that, did you all get a chance to listen to the song at all? I mean, did you listen to it? I posted the link because I didn't want to get flagged, and apparently Facebook flagged me again this week. So I guess I won't do that again. But I hope you had a chance to. And if you didn't, it's okay. We're going to get into it. What I want to be clear on, and I want to kind of frame this, right? This topic, love without regret. Yeah, I think I did too. Karan, thank you for that. And Nikki and Cree, thank you for listening to the lyrics. It is, hey, Carlton, what's up, buddy? Welcome back to the lounge. Hey, fellas, as you come in, please say hello. Because here's the thing. Before I get into this further, what I want to be very clear on about Sip and Chill, this environment, I want it to be healthy, productive, and constructive, where men and women can have great conversations and kind of debunk perceptions, right? Have some healthy conversations because, we all have our experiences, and with those experiences come perceptions sometimes. And so we want to be able to talk about those things and kind of break down those walls so that we can be better in our lives, our loves, and our relationship. So yeah, I got some big plans for Sip and Chill with Coach Reg. This is kind of like this is that fertile ground, right, for some other things to come. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Hey, Kev, how you doing? Hey, Nikki, welcome back. I might have missed some folks who came in. Apologize. Welcome back to the lounge. Happy Friday. Hope you have your beverage. If you don't, I recommend you do. Good way to ease into the weekend, kind of relax, ease out of your Friday, your work day, whatever your day was. And yeah, just have a sip. So yeah, here we go. Let's get into it. So yeah, with the lyrics, someone responded saying that it was some people settle and just don't want to be lonely. Rose Moscato, I love it, Nikki. I love it. I love it. I have my buttery shard again. Yeah, like I said, when the fall comes, it's going to change. So yeah, someone said settling for, right? Their takeaway from it was settling for, not wanting to be lonely and settling for a less than relationship. And although that can happen, that is not the context of which we're going to speak to tonight, right? What I hope you took away from the lyrics is here's a man who wants a woman and recognizes that, hey, you know what? I don't want to be lonely, and I want to be with her. I want she and I to work. So you can look at it from a man to a woman. You can look at it woman to a man. Bottom line is we're talking about a healthy relationship. And more than that, what I heard was a person who says, hey, listen, not I'll take what I can get from you, but I want to be with you. And I don't want to be lonely because being without you equates to loneliness. So you say, well, how does that work with love without regret? It's real simple. See, love without regret speaks to doing all that you can do when there is someone or a person or a relationship that you value that you don't want to lose. Don't want to be lonely. Love without regret. Now, this is the message here, and this is what we're going to get into, right? In terms of in speaking to a love without regret. Okay, so let me ask you: have you ever lost an important relationship because you felt justified and later regretted taking that position? Here's what I'm saying to you. It's not about I'm right. It's not about this is who I am. All those are things that the person that you're in relationship with may choose to accept. And I'm not suggesting that you're doing things to cater to the person and you're doing all you can to not lose them. Let me be very clear. We're talking about two people who want to be together, but one person in that relationship could take a position that this is just who I am, right? So what I want to do is I want us to talk about that very thing, not just existing. So I ask you, have you ever lost a relationship, lost an important relationship? Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard someone say, this is how I've always been. Accept me for me. Accept me for who I am. Right? And it's not about just accepting the person for who they are as much as it is, these are things that can be worked on. And these things that you're saying accept me for are unacceptable. Now, why is the topic love without regret? Because you don't want to lose a person or a relationship that's important to you because you take the position that accept me as I am. Because what you may find is if that person in that relationship is no longer part of your life, you may later live with some regret that quite frankly could have been avoided. And so what I want to do is kind of talk to you about that a little bit, right? And the choices that we make. And it's so yes, absolutely, Vita, difficult to maneuver when a person takes this. Exactly. Because you can't work with that. That person has to be willing, just as you're willing, right? Because a relationship is a shared responsibility and a partnership. And to say this is how I am, okay, that person may say yes, but is that enough? Because it's a less than proposition, especially if nobody said change, but you can totally modify behavior. And we're going to get into that in a bit because I want to say something to you. I want to hear how you feel about it as well. So here we go. So as a result of this, right, sadly, many have taken a stance and paid the price of regret. You know that cliche, you don't miss what you had until it's gone. So again, I'd like to invite you to consider this topic, love without regret. So why would you want to? Simply because the person or the relationship is important enough. Oh, okay, Nikki. Okay, that's honest. And listen, that's the beauty of it, right? And I applaud you for that, being willing to be honest about it, because it is not uncommon for any of us to be in that space or take that position, because we feel like, what's the big deal? And the big deal is simply that the person that's important to you, hey, it matters to them. How about consider them? Because there's some consideration that you want them to make with or for you. Because again, it's a partnership, right? Let's see, what do we have? But the minds for self, not the other person. When you change for the other person, it won't last. Exactly, and that is not the message. Please understand that is not the message. And that's what I want to be clear on. The person or the relationship is important to you, meaning this person that you're in relationship with has demonstrated understanding, compassion. They listen. And again, I promise we're going to touch on those things. But you're absolutely right. I'm not suggesting change for the sake of changing and trying to change to appease or appeal to someone. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying someone who has been patient and temperate and tolerant with you, and they're like, listen, talk to me. Let's work this thing through. That's what I'm talking about. Someone who's demonstrating a genuine interest in working with you to build and grow the relationship. Not someone who says change to become something because that'll, then that's how we're going to work. No, that's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? Happy Friday. I'm glad you're here too, young lady. Welcome back to the lounge. So yeah, those lyrics, right, prompted this topic. Because here's someone who is genuinely interested in sharing time and not having this person not be in his life. Listen, think about this for a second, right? He says, I don't mind when you say that you're going away. I just don't want to be lonely. And I don't care if we share only moments a day. I just don't want to be lonely. What does that mean? Not that I'll take what I can get, but it is vitally important that you are a part of my life. And I don't want to regret losing you because of something I could have done differently, but I said I was good. Okay? Because to lose a person or a relationship that's important to you, my concern is you could come to find yourself dealing with regret. And that's not the goal, right? That's not the goal. Then he goes on to say, I'd rather be loved and needed, depended on to give a love that I can't give when you're gone. Because he doesn't want to be loved. He'd rather be loved. That's what we want. Most of us, right? We want to be loved and needed, depended on to give a love that we can't give if that person is gone. And all I'm saying is, don't lose a relationship being stubborn. When there was something that the person that was important to you brought to your attention that you said, hey, what's the big deal? So, here goes. Life is filled with choices, right? And every day we must make a choice for one reason or another. Some more significant and some less significant. Regardless, choices can produce consequences or benefits. And in relationships, we all want the benefits, but often are unwilling to do the work to strengthen and sustain the relationship necessary to reap the benefits. Thus, many of us are left with the pain and disappointment of consequence. Listening to, paying attention to, and studying your mate can have tremendous benefit. Conversely, not listening to, not studying, not paying attention to, can lead to significant consequence. My humble opinion, I believe people change if one or both statements are true. Either you change because you choose to, or change chooses you. Yeah. Change because you choose to, or change will choose you. And I would submit to you that if change chooses you, you're probably not going to like that choice that change made for you, because it's going to likely equate to some loss or some pain. And so all I'm saying is, please consider your ways, right? If that person is important to you, if that relationship is important to you, and the person is talking to you about, hey, listen, I want us to work. These are things, these are challenges that we have that I perceive. And here's the thing. We're not talking about theory. We're not talking about I thought. No, the person is bringing tangible examples to your attention that concern them, and left unaddressed could mean that you're no longer in each other's lives. And this is not a gender thing. Let me be very clear. This is not about a man to a woman or a woman to a man. This is about two people who say, we want to be together and we want to work toward that. And then one is kind of like, and here's the thing, this is not a malicious thing. It's not a, oh, you did this wrong. It's not blame. It's not accusatory. It's a conversation to try to work through challenges so that you can continue to be in each other's lives, so no one has to ever worry about, I just don't want to be lonely. Okay? So, how are we doing? Is this making sense? Because I have some more information for you. I just want to make sure we're tracking so far. Thumbs up, hearts, whatever. Just let me know you can hear me. That'd be great. Hey, mommy, how are you, sweetie? Glad you could join the lounge today. Happy you are here. So, yeah. How do I love without regret? I'm glad you asked. Listen, there are 5 questions that you can ask yourself if you desire to experience love without regret. If you're with someone who is important to you, and the relationship is important to you, that you can ask yourself, these are things that these are steps, questions you can ask yourself and take those answers to understand if you're headed towards love without regret or love with regret. And I hope I hope you choose love without. Okay. First question you may want to ask yourself: do you evaluate your behavior, your response, and reaction to things brought to your attention? Do you evaluate your behavior, your response, and reaction to things brought to your attention? In other words, when someone says something, are you confrontational, defensive, or are you willing to listen to say, oh, what do they have to say? Maybe there's some merit to it. And it doesn't mean because someone brings something to your attention that you have to consider it or that they're right. It simply means if the person is bringing something to your attention, and you know that you care about the person, love the person in the relationship is important to you. You're at least willing to listen. And let me be very clear. I'm talking about two people who want to be together. This is not somebody you're getting to know. This is someone that you are in a relationship with, or you're moving towards establishing. So remember, we talked about this in previous Sip and Chills. Remember we did exclusively dating versus exclusivity. Okay, so this is that space of exclusively dating, leaning into or leading towards exclusivity. Okay, because the whole purpose of exclusively dating is to determine if it's a temp to perm analogy. Remember the analogy we used? If it's a temp to perm, if this person fits the culture, if you fit the culture, both people are being interviewed and see how you navigate and how you move and maneuver through adversity, challenges, and things you can talk about and things that matter to you, and we listen. Sometimes we're unaware of how we show up until someone tells us, and they're not coming to you necessarily out of a place of, again, accusation or blame, but they're saying, hey, listen, did you realize, are you aware, or did you know? Those are questions. Those aren't attacks. And if they're asking you, and then not only are they asking you, they're saying, this is the example of how I got to the question. Because it's not theory. And when that's presented to you, are you willing to listen, or do you take a stance like, or do you feel offended, or do you take offense? And if the person cares about you because they've demonstrated they do, it's likely not coming from a bad place. Because guess what? They don't want to be lonely either. We're not talking about people you just getting to know. We're talking about some people that you're working on establishing something with. And guess what? It could have cost you that relationship, or it could have cost you that establishing a relationship from continuing. That's why these questions are important to ask and answer for yourself, so that if you have experienced this, you will be better prepared to not experience it again. Number 2, do you value the person in the relationship enough to consider what is being presented to you or asked of you? I kind of talked about that already. Because again, if you value them and you value the relationship, you're at least, minimally, it warrants consideration, even if you disagree with what they're saying or have a response, and you likely will. But the reality is, we're talking about the ability to have a healthy conversation and discussion about something that could, if not addressed, could derail the two people. And we want to not have that happen, so that everybody, if you're in that situation, you can love without regret, because you don't lose a relationship that really could have been salvaged. Bernice, I think it's a good thing to know someone feels that way about you. I think it's a wonderful thing, Bernice. It's a wonderful thing to feel that, because it's compassion, it's empathy. It's a wonderful thing, which is why, and just like you said, if it's a good feeling, all the more reason to consider it. All the more reason to say, gosh, okay, I didn't realize I was doing that. And if I am doing it, let me try to understand why. Now, I'm going to get into some stuff after that. Let me get through these questions. But yeah, I got some thoughts on that too I want to share with you, because there's some things we got to uncover. Number 3, do you take the time to think about what is said, or do you immediately respond defensively? Sometimes when folks say things to us, even if we know they care about us, we may be like, I didn't mean to do that. That's not what I meant. No, it's not. No one said you meant it, right? It's likely presented as a question. Did you know? Were you aware? Did you realize? Wanted to bring this to your attention. It's not meant to cause confrontation. It's meant to discuss and deconflict. Because why? The person and the relationship is important enough to you to consider it. Number 4, do you seek to understand by asking probing questions, or assume you know what the person feels or intends to convey? Do you let them get it out? Do you actually stop to hear what they said before you respond, or cut them off and say, I know what you mean? We're talking about love without regret. Listen, we all have habits, right, that are contrary or can be contrary to a successful relationship. And again, when we move in love, when we talk to each other, discuss things respectfully, introduce things respectfully in the form of a question, not an accusation, things go different. Because the person, it's a way to diffuse something by asking a question versus making a statement. Because if you tell me how I feel or tell me what I'm thinking, I don't know many people who are going to do well with that. Because last I checked, I don't think anyone reads minds. So how do we know what someone is saying before they've finished? It's just important to listen. Why do you do this? Because the person and the relationship that you're building or is established is important enough to do so. Last question. Do you use these answers to make positive adjustments in your relationship? Didn't say change. Didn't say change. I said adjustment. Do you use the answers that you collected in the first 4 questions to make positive adjustments in your relationship? Here's why this is important. And it's not enough to treat the symptom by appeasing it with, oh, I understand that's not what I meant. I didn't. No. See, here's where coaching comes in. And here's why there's work to be done. And I understand that it's a very personal thing. I understand it's a very private thing. But you got to ask yourself a question. Is it important enough? Does it matter enough to me to not continue to live in this way, in this space? That I need to make some adjustments. I need to understand some things for me, because let's be clear. That person, although you care about them, that you may be building with or you may be established with, here's the reality. They're a placeholder unless you address these issues, the individual. Here's why I say that. And I'm not suggesting placeholder as insignificant or the person doesn't matter to you. What I'm saying is you would behave that way with anyone you put in that spot. Because the triggers or the things that cause you to react or respond like that are coming from some other place. And so no matter who the person is, they're going to be the recipient of that. And what I'm saying and suggesting to you is if this is you or something like this is in your zip code, you could benefit from coaching to better understand, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing this? And listen, it could be that you didn't realize there was a challenge because prior to now, or up until now, maybe no one challenged you to consider your ways. Because it was enough for you to say, this is who I am. Why can't you accept me for who I am? But when you meet somebody, how many people have heard the statement, this person is time enough for you, right? Now, all that means is this person is as confident, as bold and all the swag and stuff that you have. Guess what? There are people who got that too. And those are the ones who are like, whoa. And those are the people who can compel us, right? Because there's some things that we're attracted to. There's some things that we like about them. And we're like, man, you kind of see yourself in that person, some similarities, some tendencies. And so you're like, wait a minute. And so now you have someone who is compelling you to consider your ways, because maybe prior to that person, you were the cat's meow. Everybody was like kissing the ring and so forth. And it is when you meet somebody that's time enough for you and you dig them, I promise you what I'm saying is going to make a lot of sense. Until or unless it happens, if it hasn't, you're like, I hear you, but. And what I'm saying to you is this, guys, Sip and Chill family, is this, right? This is all an inside job. See, because it's important to understand the root cause. Because when you understand the root cause, you can adjust and modify your behavior to get better results. It's not, listen, we all have hurts and experiences, but burying those doesn't profit you, and it doesn't profit the person that you say you want to build with, that you say is important to you, and this is a relationship you'd rather not lose. Why? Because I don't want to be lonely. Can I tell you something? If you don't do that inside job, if you don't do that work, what you can probably look forward to is being lonely or settling. And I don't want you to have to do either. Now, am I saying doing these things ensures your relationship is going to succeed? No. Notice I said it's about the individual. If the relationship succeeds, fantastic. If it doesn't, you are better prepared and available for one that does. Because you can recognize how you show up, increase your self-awareness, and you can head stuff off at the past. And when someone brings it to your attention, guess what? They probably won't be bringing it to your attention anymore. Because you've been working on that thing. Not that you're perfect, but you're better than you were. But to continue to move as you've moved, because it's what you've always done, doesn't make you right. And if you want to take that position, you can do it if you really want to be by yourself. But if that's not your story, I'm encouraging you to love without regret. Does that make sense? I'll wait and sip. How we doing? So yeah, This is why I do what I do, right? This is why I want this environment to be a healthy one for men and women. We can really work on those things. And again, I understand it is a personal and private thing. And you can say, well, you don't understand my story. Listen, I'm not suggesting that I do understand. But what I can assure you is if staying as you are is enough for you, and you're not getting what you say you want and desire, which is that emotionally fulfilling and gratifying relationship, I'm not convinced how you get there. Maybe you can tell me. But what I do know, that there is a need to look inwardly to see where I can be better, to understand what even causes this. Listen to me. Listen, ladies, men, we have heard, women have said about men, he got mommy issues. Men have said about women, she's got daddy issues. Here's the problem with that. You may be right, but it's not enough to put an umbrella or a blanket over it and say they have this type of issue or that, instead of asking the question, where's this coming from? Remember I said it's important to ask probing questions, not accusatory, but ask questions. Hey, listen, did you realize? Were you aware of how that sounded? Was that your intention to do that? Was that your intention to say that? And the reason you ask is because you're not believing the worst. You're asking to understand because the person may have just been acting out of habit because it's what they've always done. But they can maybe receive from you. Why? Because you're important enough to them, and the relationship is important enough. That's the only reason you do it, because guess what? If one or both of those statements aren't true, nobody's doing this. Very few of us do this on our own. Most of us do it when we have to. Remember I said, I believe you change for one or two reasons. Either you choose to, or change chooses you. You ask questions and some people don't know how to respond. You're absolutely right. Hey, Audrey, you know what that's called? Homework. Because it requires some thought. It's not as simple as, what do you want to eat? What are you doing tomorrow? It's going to require some thoughts, because it's going to require some thought. And the reason, Audrey, it requires thought is because we have more runtime being as we've been. And so when someone brings something to our attention, we have to, and again, if they matter to us, if they're important enough to us, and the relationship matters, it's a worthwhile endeavor to go think about that thing and say, you know what, that's a good question. I need to think about that. And not just think about it and not ever revisit it, but you think about it and say, man, I didn't realize that. Wow, thank you for that. Because if you introduce something to someone that you care about and they believe you do, the likelihood, because you've done so with compassion, the likelihood is they're going to listen, at least consider it. And the only reason is because you and the relationship are important enough to do so. Now, does that mean they're going to make adjustments? To be determined. But here's why this is important for you. Again, it's not that you could be on either side of this equation. You could be the person presenting it to your person, or you could be the person hearing it from your person. See? So the whole point of this, if someone comes to you and says, hey, did you know? And they matter to you, then you may think about it. If you go to someone, right, what you're paying attention to is if they're willing to consider you as you were willing to consider them. Remember, it's not so simple as a question. And so, Audrey, when you say they don't know how to respond, hey, you can say, listen, I get that this question it's going to take you some time on it. You may need a minute, right? Because here's why these questions are so vitally important. to shore up the foundation you're trying to build and establish. Yeah, that's why you do it. So that understanding and comprehension can occur for both people. So that when these kinds of things pop up again, and they likely will, you know why? Because we got this little thing called habits. You can say, hey, babe, remember that? Oh, yeah, I did it again. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's okay, sweetie. I know you're working on it. You see how that works? Now, let me be very clear. I'm not making this up. This is not fantasy. This is not something you just, it's not true. It's real freaking life. Because although there are many people not in relationship, there are actually people who are building relationships right now. Those relationships are just getting started, got many months in, got some years in. And people in Sip and Chill fall into all of those categories. Not in relationship, want to be in relationship, been in relationship for a minute, right? Because here, what do we do here, Sip and Chill? Start, strengthen, and sustain, right? So all the things we're talking about can be done no matter where you are. But we're talking specifically about persons who are working on becoming established or are well established. And the whole point of this, and I don't want to be lonely, and loving without regret, is because if you love without regret, you're less likely to say, I don't want to be lonely, because you won't have to. If you're paired and partnered with the right person. Does this make sense? I need some thumbs or something. Because I see people, I see you guys, but I can't tell, are you just thinking about this? I mean, it's just talk to me. I'm going to sit while you do that. I think I told you. And I hope you are too. Just saying. We will not be much longer. In fact, yeah. So I'll say this to you. I will say this to you. You really, if this is you, okay? And like I said, I recognize this is a very private and personal thing. But if you are someone who's courageous enough to say, you know what, this is me, this is who I've been, and I'm not sure how to fix this, because I recognize some things about myself that may be holding me back from experiencing that emotionally gratifying and fulfilling relationship. Here's what I'm gonna ask you to consider. Get on my schedule. Schedule your chemistry session. bit.ly Coach Reg session. I'll post it in the link. I'll post it at the bottom of the video when we're done. I understand, but I want you to win. That's the whole point of this. I promise I do. I want men and women to win, because ultimately I believe we all desire that. And people say, man, relationships are hard. Yeah, they are. That's why they call work. Tell me something that you've earned that you now have that wasn't, you appreciate the work that went into making it happen. It wasn't handed to you. You had to put some effort in. And all I'm saying is, put the effort in, especially if you have someone that's important to you, in a relationship that's important to you. And even if you don't yet have that person, and you know or have heard how some of this, like, man, I did that too. Prepare yourself. Consider you. Invest in you. Get on my schedule so we can talk about it. I want you to win. That's it. I do. So I'll open it up for a couple of minutes before we hop out of here. Again, happy Friday to everyone who came on, whenever you came on. Happy Friday to those of you who are going to catch the replay who are not here live. I'm happy you're hanging out in the lounge. Definitely appreciate you doing so. And I hope that you're finding some value here. I really, really do. Any questions? Any thoughts? I didn't see any hearts and thumbs up, so I'm not sure if you guys are feeling me right now, and that's okay. That's really okay. I believe that, that's okay. Any questions? Any comments? All right. No? Okay. All right. 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 I'll give it a moment or two. I don't want to cut out too soon. Oh, yes, Audrey, absolutely. 100%. They really are. They really, really are. See, and I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, these questions are true for any relationship that you value, right? Considering these thoughts or considering these questions or even looking inwardly, right? I think it is definitely I think it's valuable and necessary to do. Hey, Nikki. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you were here, young lady. I really am. Hey, you have a great weekend also. Let's catch up soon. Bernadette, absolutely. I will get you that link. Again, it's bit.ly Coach Reg session. In fact, what I'll do, Bernadette, is I'll DM you directly so you'll get it, but I'll also post it at the bottom of the video tonight when we're done. So for those others who may want to schedule a chemistry session, they can totally do that as well. But yes, I will get that to you, young lady. I promise. I promise. Yeah. So, I think that's all. Hey, listen, everyone. Again, excited to be here with you. Thank you for hanging out with me in the lounge. Have a fantastic weekend. Please stay safe. Social distance if you're hanging out. Be sure to wear your mask and face coverings. Take care of each other. Love each other, right? Be kind to one another. So, yeah, listen. I'm Coach Reg, and I love. I will see you all next week in the next lounge session with Coach Reg. Hey, Cree, you're very welcome. Happy Friday, young lady. I will see you all soon. Again, I'm Coach Reg, and I love. Take good care.